Hello, everyone. I'm Little McGriddle, and welcome back. Now, I think this is another text adventure. This is the game called Unroaded. Yes, it is. It's another visual novel. As you know, I like visual novels, so decide to play this one because it looked interesting enough. And, well, I don't know so far. I guess it looks okay. I don't really know much about this game, but why not go into it blind like I do almost every game? I'm sure it'll be fun. So, without further ado, let's continue and get on with the game. Sickness and death are blowing from the nauseous yellow sky. Sky's yellow? That's gross. What's going on here? The light and ghostly clouds are frozen, as if time came to a halt where there is no life. The vagrant sits on the wall of a half-ruined fortress and tries not to look at the sick sky that evokes anguish and disturbance to the echo of mind, like the living can have. There is no way out. Windows are crammed with boards, doors are buried into the earth for centuries, but he is in no hurry to leave. Day, week, month, he sits, look away, and then time starts to lose meaning, disappears, until the wall begins to crumble. Pardon? What wall? Sooner or later he will fall. So it better be on his own terms and not from the fault of the crumbling stone. Huh? He rises to step forward. The wind doesn't whistle in his ears. In the ears. English in this game. It's wonderful. Actually, I think this game is in some other language I'm not sure of. I don't know what language it is. There's English and some other type of language this game is in. The ground is approaching, but the heart does not beat in fear. He falls to the dusty ground and crumbles like a bunch of bones, followed by the ringing sound of the armor, and then silence takes place. Slowly and indifferent, the vagrant sits down and begins to gather himself by the pieces. Wrist to a forearm, a hand to a clavicle, not a speck of blood to be seen. The vagrant creaks with his jaw. Huh? Okay. The war lasted for decades, and he was one of its many victims. When the king's armies started getting diminished, commanders of both sides sympathized with otherworldly forces. Fallen warriors rose once again and charged into battle. They fought mindlessly, tirelessly, and yet the war saw its end. But her soldiers haven't. Only the lifeless lands full of dead men remained. The vagrant fed the fire with the orders issued to him before the first battle. Throughout his helmet, on which royal symbols once shined proudly, smeared in the resin clothes that were copying the colors of the once native land. For having forgotten someone's bright face 100 years ago, for that now he feels nothing except sore bitterness for the nauseous yellow sky. The magic of death has turned this world into a mass grave. How was he like before? The vagrant doesn't remember. The last thing memory clings to is the name. He had a name once, short, proud, sounding simple and quite common, but it belonged to him. Name that no one needs. As well as torn, trampled flags that were left behind. He doesn't have the strength to be the man he once was, but he can still hold his sword with his hands. But not alone. No. No way. Loneliness is what drives him insane. I think loneliness drives pretty much everyone insane. It's not the fortresses that no longer stand, not the lack of feelings, not the frozen time, but knowing himself alone, like if he was the last. Where is everyone? Ours and others, no matter, if only they were here. With non-existent eyes, the vagrant observes a triumphant of death at the desert fields spreading far away. He must find the answer. The road stretches monotonously. The vagrant doesn't notice how the scenery changes. Abandoned settlements are passing by, and naked forests are gracing with the clouds. Time sinks in and spreads like a thick fog over his mind, muddles hours with days, and comes to life with only when silhouettes appear on the way, the figures of other dead men. The fights are not different from one another, they are sluggish, but they beat off seconds in the mind like thunder. Block, counterattack, again and again. Why do they attack? He always waits and defends himself. He wants to see the life, half-forgotten world. It was so difficult to recognize it now. Only the mind will tell. Only a lowered sword. Only an attempt to get to know each other. The dead men don't remember themselves. They charge into battle mindlessly, so the vagrant crumbles them to dust, hoping that he is freeing their souls. Then time freezes again, turning the path into a sequence of pictures. Oh, lovely. Oh, nice column of black smoke it got there. Cool. Black smoke splits the gloomy sky and the vagrant follows it. He doesn't care about the way. Some part of him remembers the outlines of the hills, its borders. He leaves his kingdom, his home, and these thoughts suddenly become meaningless. There are no borders now, and he won't recognize home as well. He desperately tries to recall someone's bright face, and he can't. But does it mean anything now? Will the memories of happiness serve him well in this time, in this place? Will they give him a sense of time? Or maybe they will be the only thing that won't let him give up? Concentrate on the path. Excuse my English. I don't know. Trust the feelings. If Ragnar doesn't know, no one could tell him what awaits ahead, so he asks his past for the strength. The tips of her lips rise. Is this a smile? And he feels better. Cool. He continues the way, reflecting on how it was like before, and he ignores the formidable clouds that gathered overhead. Coal ash is spreading in all directions. Twice burned land, he recalls, and looked at the new fire. Fire is dancing freely, but sleepily. He stretches to the sky and settles, breathes to its full height, leans, burns clouds, and clings to the ground. Oh, lovely. Dead men are gathered around the fire. Nude, charred, they enter the scarlet flame and lie in his core the hearth, one by one, slowly and impassively. Then they rise and leave the fire, sharing it with the rest. The vagrant breathes the ashes and doesn't feel the fire's warmness. The flesh burns and bubbles. No smell. Okay. Hi! Dead men notice the vagrant, don't stop. Only one of them still has tongue left and tries to speak. Stand in line. His voice is dry. There is no sadness or pain in it, only indifference. What are you doing? Stand in line. We kill ourselves. We share the fire because no one other won. I think that was... Okay, moving on. We don't want to go anywhere. We don't want to look for another fire. After all, it is here, even if it is small. Some have already freed themselves. Others burn themselves little by little to give others chance to die. What if that fire goes out? We need to share. Stand in line. No, I will not stand in line. I choose life. I am not looking for death. I'm looking for those who remain themselves. I want to talk like I did when I was alive, to remember myself and know that I live. You will have none of that. Have you ever tried? Stand in line or go away. You can come with me. Why do you need to stay here? Why burn yourself if you still remember who you are? Go away. No, offer them the last death. I can kill you. Death won't come from someone else's hand. Only fire can provide it. Stand in line or go away. Okay, you know what? Let's just go on our merry way. I have killed before. My rivals did not rise. I can help you. Go away. Listen, go away. 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 They are enjoying it. They want to be with the fire, become the fire, forget everything, neither life or death are important as long as you have a goal. Their goal is to burn. No one can help them. Time flies by like a swift bird of prey and snatches seconds from life along with the flesh. The vagrant feels older than he should. He doesn't like it, so he leaves. Good for you, finally. Okay, we're on our way. The ashes last for a long while. It extends up to 3 rising suns, in which the vagrant hasn't noticed until now. Light and darkness used to be the same for him, now he counts the days. At night he decides to stop. He doesn't need to rest, but he makes the way easier. He looks at the stars and gives them names. Words are summed up by themselves. Bird, Pearl, Virgo, Shield, and Smile. Her smile. Whose smile? Is it your wife? Is it your daughter? Who are we talking about? I'm curious. Oh, I'm really curious now. I want to know whose smile he's thinking of. Morning leads him to a lifeless city. The fog winds over the thickets of a dry river. The vagrant raises his head with the hope of seeing a flag waving over the towers, but their silhouettes are still. He carefully invades the abode of calmness. Silence envelops the city, only the sparse howling of the evil wind can be heard. This place is like an echo of a bygone time, and the vagrant decides to call it that way. Echo. Perhaps when the city ends, the sadness that has settled in the heart will also disappear. Once this place brought people joy. Memories sneak up like an annoying melody. He gives into it. He remembers the loud conversations and the rushings. Wagon wheels are knocking along the crowded streets. A child steals an apple from the basket of the lady who's going home. She doesn't notice. She looks at the vagrant. Playful smile, the vagrant turns away only because someone is waiting for him at home. How can you call life to what he is living now? The vagrant wants to go home. He stumbles over something and barely keeps himself away from falling. Lowering his gaze, he sees that a dead man is under some broken slabs that has blocked his way. The neat rays from footboard slowly goes down. Why have you done this? The vagrant examines the face under the helmet. Neither skin or muscles can be seen, only bones. The dead man can't answer. Nope, dead man can't talk. He doesn't even move. I'm just gonna leave him alone. No thanks. I don't want to get any. Ugh. It's. I'm sorry. Wait. Can we go back to history? I want to know what that said. Okay, from the heart of the city, chants can be heard. The vagrant walks over the overgrown stone slabs, and doesn't listen. Okay, it's all in his head. He finds a chapel and steps inside with caution, examining the rotten wooden beams. The ceiling is still holding. How many prayers have these walls heard? How many of them God heard? Has anyone survived this war? A steady knock comes from somewhere. The vagrant follows it and finds himself in the chapel's basement. He sees 3 dead men. One stands against the wall and beats the stone with his head. His skull is full of cracks. It looks like he has been doing this for a long time. The other 2 sit beside him and watch. Dudes, you look weird. Your arms are so skinny. Holy crap! Look at your arms. Okay. Alright, moving on. Newbie. Another. Won't last. Toe. What? Okay. The dead man who spoke to the second one tears his little finger from his foot and puts it on the barrel, where a hand is already placed on. Did they bet on the vagrant? Too soon. This one is still alive. There's a loud bang. The skull of the dead man who is beating his head against the wall finally cracks. The body falls limply to the ground, raising a heap of dust. The first dead man laughs hoarsely and takes the hand. Won again. You always bet on death, because there can be no other outcome. It can. No one needs immortality. Our fate is another search for immortality. Their strange dialogue suddenly stops to turn to the newcomer. Say goodbye to the toe. Already? How long have you been wandering? With delay, the vagrant realizes that the last phrase was addressed to him. He doesn't move, looking at these dead men and starts thinking about what to answer. Conscious for the first time. Conscious. I don't remember the time. What are you playing? Making bets. We are making bets. Everyone is dying. There are no losers in this game. When I have spare bones, I bet on life. And then I get new bones. And what are you doing? It's not easy to get used to their speech. They seem to dictate only the meaning of their thoughts. I'm looking for someone like me to save myself from madness. Madness awaits us all. Play. Nothing more is needed. We won't become alive. We won't regain our feelings. We will never have a love again. No one needs this kind of existence. There is no meaning. Therefore, seek for the last death, or play. Maybe argue with them? I will find my own meaning, and if it disappoints me, I'll look for another one. Because life is an opportunity to make a choice, and I won't deny my life as long as I remember who I am. Good choice, that is amazing. After listening to him, the dead man remained silent for a long time, and then the second one takes his little finger back. Lucky. Boring. They really had bet on him. The disturbed dust lazily hovers over the stone, and the inanimate silence peals mumbling mixed with the sigh of one of the debaters. The second one snorts as if in response. Dead men don't need to breathe. These are feelings. They have them. They don't understand. Do you remember your names? We all have no past. Now no one has a name. Names are no longer needed. I shall name you. I need to so I can distinguish you. Maybe Ben and Bean? Who is Ben? Who is Bean? I like Ben. And I am Bean. The second one turns towards the vagrant. And who will be you? The vagrant. Such a hypocrisy. Saddled us with names who refuses to take one. No, wait. The vagrant. Ben, Bean, and the vagrant. Fine. The dead men get distracted by their previous victim. All overgrown with the moss faster. He? Or his clothes. Someone outside. Good lord. Startled me. Please pardon the noises upstairs. If we bet on those who truly are dead, let's get out of here. Seek for others. Is vagrant with us? No, thinks too much. We'll spoil the game. Spoil the game because I think too much? Oops, sorry. I just tend to let my imagination go. But we'll meet again, if he won't die. Friends? They look at him again. You guys are weird, but I like you guys, so yes, friends. The vagrant nods. Perhaps someday their paths will converge, and he won't mind having friends, even though he doesn't understand what that word means. Oh, come on, everyone knows what friends mean. He hopes these two will help him find out one day. The three leave the basement and their paths diverge. The debaters are going away from the sun. They no longer need this city, and the vagrant continues his way to the ruins' depths. There is no one else. Nothing happens. Stone walls dissolve the world in grayness, and when they end, only the sky remains in the same gray. Well, that's unfortunate. The mad dead men are getting bigger. They attack without asking questions. Their hands never tremble. Their faces are always unreadable. The vagrant doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to save them either. He doesn't care what the reason for their madness, the magic of death, or a weak mind that didn't accept into existence. They have no hope of salvation. Or he wants to think that way. Where once was a heart hurts with heartache. He gets tired of timelessness when no one is around. The body feels cumbersome, the mind is unnecessary, and existence itself is like a joke of an evil god. Why did you lock me up in empty infinity? He does not receive a response. He knows that he won't get it by asking someone inside himself. Yearning intensively turns into anger. The vagrant gets angry at the silence and the thoughtlessness who are dressed in the same armor as he is, and quickly gets irritated when he is forced to fight again. Soon he begins to attack first. Each new battle takes him more than the previous one. Anger starts to become the goal. He is looking for rivals. He wants to tear apart the armor, cut the tendons, smash the bones. He is eager to watch the last moment of someone else's existence, how the weapons fall from the hands of the defeated enemy, and one day he loses. The last death does not come because the other dead men don't think about crushing the enemy into dust, leaving him behind when he stops moving. The sun runs endlessly across the sky, and a vagrant lies in the faded grass, confusing himself with the dead. Stars are born in the dark and die with the forthcoming of light. Wow. Why is the sun doing this? Why kill the stars? Whoa, man. Okay. Thoughts break off, turning into something unclear. At the place of the heart, it aches. Feelings return to him with the memory of the war during his lifetime, and the vagrant gives in to them. He screams to the sky to the midnight, and then he gets bored. He forces himself to get up and move on. He picks up the sword but ceases the fight, falling when attacked, waiting, then continues on his way. He's already far from the place of his death and even farther from home. When will he find what he is looking for? The sun has time to set as many times as the vagrant has markings on his sword's sheath, which were made, apparently, when he was still alive. It's almost completely covered with them. They are not enough. The vagrant starts recounting, once again. Where the heck are we now? The earth changes its color. It grows with a stone. Stonehenge! Are we in Stonehenge? I'm kidding. Traveled paths wander through a maze of rocks and find their end among the lights. Wrecks of armor are lying around, and is this a camp? I don't know, I can't tell. All I see is smoke. 5 figures in black armor sit around the fire. Helmets are covering their faces, and skulls are scratched on their shields. Humans? No, it cannot be. The vagrant realizes that he is correct. The knights do not move, do not breathe, just stare into the fire, fascinated as if nothing else is surrounding them. The bonfire makes dying logs sing, and they sing almost invitingly. Or is it just a delusion and twiddle of the wind? The vagrant doesn't have time to move slightly forward towards the knights before one of them turns his head. Hi, hello. Hi, how you doing? A new executioner has visited us. His voice is low, humming, more alive than all those the vagrant has met so far, but there was something deranged about it. Not sure how to do this voice. Without waiting for the newcomer's answer, another knight asks doubtfully, or a new victim? No, look at him. Death has no power over him. Frozen, they look at the vagrant. Will you join us in our noble goal? Who are you, and what is your goal? We are the executioners. Life has rejected us, so we have rejected all living things. The Grand Executioner. When the first war occurred, our time was taken by countless battles. When the second war occurred, we were called out from the realm of the dead to kill again. And when there was no one left, we were abandoned. You speak of 2 wars, I know only of one. Twice burned land, for the first time by the fault of our foolishness, for the second of our despair. But nothing would have happened if it were not for the necromancer. He tricked the 2 kingdoms with intricacies and intrigues to see the war happen. He came to both kings and offered death magic. When the armies were exhausted and the land poor, the lords accepted his help. Who is this necromancer? And shame on me for losing the voice halfway through. I'm really sorry, guys. We do not know. We are seeking revenge will not take long. The necromancer must pay. In pursuit of him, we will destroy all living things, because war is what he created us for. Our kingdom is forgotten. Our children lie in graves with fools and cowards who fled from death to fire. We will not allow ourselves to fall so low. Pain is our strength. When we burn the necromancer, we will burn this world, so that there will be no more stupidity, so there will be no more despair. Well, alright then. Okay. Sure is, buddy. Sure is. Life is a mistake. Excuse me. Life is not a mistake. Life is an adventure. Life is not a mistake. The The nights are silent. They are not going to argue. They have their own truth. How many years have they been guarding it? For them, it's more important than their own souls. Reflections of fire dance on the black steel of their armor, diverting attention from the heavy stairs. What do they need the fire for? Don't they despise it? Or maybe this is why they huddle around the bonfire, as if they were still alive. They are testing their will, their spirit. After all, fire can provide peace, everything that all the dead men actually need. If you're not with us, leave. You must burn. So, you know what? Excuse us. We're just gonna go our own way. Okay? Just like Fleetwood Mac told us to. Despair devours from within. The vagrant turns away and silently leaves. Good for you. Foothills follow him with scarlet clouds. The place is too peaceful. The wind walks freely and carefree. It doesn't bluster or howls, only touches the grass gently and retreats to the sky as if afraid to do harm. Clouds gather and crumble as white dust when night falls, jumbles with the stars. The markings on the sheath become useless. Why time if all there is an endless way? Time is required by the living ones to remember about death. Instead of thinking about the days, the vagrant thinks about the silence of the morning, about the beauty of the sun at sunset, about how he tried to name the stars once. It returns to him imperceptibly. One day he catches himself in thoughts. Even from here you can see them. Bird, pearl, Virgo, shield, and smile. The image appears in front of him clearly than ever before, and he focuses on the memories. This is something very important. He must remember. A bird on the emblem of a family tree, same one on a green robe. Pearls glisten on the neck. Auburn hair flows over strong shoulders. Steel in the glance of gray eyes, but smile illuminates the face. Like that she was, a warrior from distant, wild lands. Then the war began, and she fought under enemy banners. He did not run away even though he wanted to do that more than anything else. Every day he prayed to the gods to not meet her on the battlefield. They did not hear his prayers. At the day he killed her, time stood still. On the same day he allowed himself to be killed, and rose up already without memory. The vagrant covers his face with his hands if he wanted to cry, and for a long time sits in silence. Okay, so it's not a daughter or a wife. There's a cape near the road. Then, after the precipice is nothing, only a naked bottom that remained due to a dried up river. At the edge of the cape, boulders are overgrown with perennial moss. It takes time for the vagrant to notice a figure in the gray-yellow robe. Someone is sitting on the precipice with his head bowed. The vagrant walks closer and sits next to the stranger. His legs are dangling into the precipice. He doesn't speak until he is noticed. Hey, you have no face. Are you aware of that, sir? I can only... Is that your eyes I can see, or are those your eyebrows? Oh, I've lost myself in thought. It becomes possible to realize that he is a dead man due to the finger bones that peek out from his holy gloves. His face is hidden behind a mask, and multi-layered clothing wraps the entirety of his body. Something in him reveals that he is a good fighter. The vagrant doesn't know what it is exactly, only that the feeling doesn't leave him. It is better not to meet with this one in open battle. Who are you? The vagrant. So you don't remember your name too? And what should I call you? Others called me a philosopher. I guess you can too. Calmness comes over him. He is not so cold and indifferent compared to all the other dead men who the vagrant had met so far, but as if no one is there. How can it be? The vagrant stretches his hand slowly so that the stranger doesn't get frightened, and touches his shoulder. Dead bones cannot transmit feelings, but the hand hits an obstacle. Not a vision after all. The stranger doesn't react to the gesture. What are you doing here? Nothing. How is that? I'm thinking. This is inaction for the world of the dead. What are you thinking about? About water, earth, sky. What else can you think about while being dead? About your grief? There's a one-way ticket to oblivion. Why are you wearing a mask? So many questions. My face has been eaten away by death and time. Those who remain unconscious do not need to see it. The wind sings a hollow... Okay, whatever. The wind's doing something. The philosopher responds to its song with a quiet humming. An awkward melody brings unwanted memories. This is an anthem. And something in this humming sounds terribly familiar. You remember it too, yes? No. But yes, I remember, although I do not know why. Behind the cold mask, the fragrant feels a smile. You all remember it. There are no names, no past, but each one of you remembers the anthem. Excuse me, sir. What anthem are we talking about? You speak as if you are not one of us. I am not one of you, not really. It was not the necromancer's actions that caused my curse, and I remember everything. Do you remember why the war started? Who we were, and why did we fought? Yes. Tell me. When the seas depleted, a lot of no man's land appeared. The kings of the two largest empires were constantly engaged in long negotiations about how to divide the new lands. Nobody wanted to make concessions. I wish I could say that the rumors led the necromancer to the lords, that it was his evil tongue that provoked the first war, followed by another one. Isn't he guilty for the fate of the dead men wandering everywhere? He is just as guilty as the kings. Everyone was hoping to prevent the war, but at the very first chance they grabbed hold of lies and intrigues. After fulfilling his part of the deal, the necromancer gave an advantage to one side by resurrecting their fallen warriors, and when they refused to satisfy his demands, he did the same for their enemies. His demands were not again satisfied, so he left and let everyone to kill each other. The philosopher laughs quietly. So, what was his demands? What was it that he demanded? I don't know. Whatever it was, I cannot justify two wars. You would have only won if you hadn't intervened, and you wouldn't be here now. And where am I? On the way to the necromancer. Say what? You did not notice that you always go forward? That something is calling to you to move on without you realizing where to? But you do know. Something is waiting for you beyond the sun. The vagrant remembers a maiden with a shield dying on his hands, and his thoughts are empty. He doesn't hear the song, only his grief. He confesses no, and yet you follow his call. He sings to you, he sings to everyone, he summons the remaining stray dead men to himself. He wants to fix what he has done. By killing all of us? Yes. The philosopher laughs again, and the vagrant becomes scared for a moment. He manages to forget the feeling fear, and didn't recall about its existence until he realized he was dead. However, it was not death that scared him. The one who sows death regrets for his wrongdoings. All of this is hard to accept. I understand. It is so sweet to believe that your goals are noble. The one of pure evil is to blame for everything, but the reality is always more prosaic. How do you know so much? I was his friend. Nice, okay. Silence comes and it lasts for many days. Under the vagrant's bony knees, flowers get the time to grow. At some moment, shattered skulls and fragments of black armor fly into the precipice. The vagrant recognizes the executioners in them, those who had sworn to kill the necromancer and destroy all living things. By the hands of the philosopher, they found peace. I was his friend. The vagrant doesn't ask anything. Everyone wants to save something. He began his journey in search of others. He wanted to talk, listen, and feel. Now the philosopher is beside him, and time belongs to them. The vagrant talks about what happened, about how he refused to die in the fire, how he gave names to the two conscious dead men, and after hearing the executioners, refused to give up. He doesn't face approval or dispraise, so he feels relieved. The philosopher tells him about the cemeteries that have turned into flower fields, about the music of silence, about the stars. The living ones have bodies and feelings. They do not need a meaning. What about the dead? Is this life worthy of pursuing? So many reflections, opinions, and words. The philosopher asks questions in which the vagrant does not know the answers to. One thing is clear for both of them: the necromancer will not back down, and this means that no one will have the opportunity to find the answers to these questions. Lovely. Only when the vagrant notices the rust on his armor he realizes that years have passed. For real, has it already been that long? Holy crap. He and the philosopher get to know each other too well. The moment of departure arrives. Getting used to loneliness again is not so difficult because the vagrant is calm. He preserves the calmness and carries it with him to the rest of the way. And ladies and gentlemen, this will end the first video of Unroaded here. We're gonna let him have his calmness and carry with him for a little while longer. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will be getting to the next one soon. I'm not sure how long this game is, but it seems quite interesting, and I'm really excited to continue carrying on with this game. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that button down below. And like always, I will catch you all in the next video. Stay awesome. Bye.